Hey y'all. Let's see. So I'll wait a bit for people to come in. Hi. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Katina. How are you? Happy Sunday. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey, how are you? AC Dean. And oh, hey. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hiroshi girl. Hi, Bonnie. Hi. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming. Hey, David from Harlem. Okay. I love New York. Hi, Cindy. David, have you had any Rasta pasta? I'm dying to try that place. Hey, Teresa. Sheila. How you guys doing? All right, guys. Well, let's get started. First of all, oh yes, I am supposed to announce the winners of the contest first and foremost. So, first, I'm going to announce the winner of the 6,000 subscriber contest. Now, if you won the contest, you have a week to contact me on my email, askanaquarius007 at gmail.com. So you have a week to contact me so I can schedule your appointment for your hour reading. So I'm giving away two today. The first one, hey Raka, the first one, the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, the winner is AC Dane. AC, I just saw you come in, as a matter of fact. You are our winner for the first contest. So please email me so we can schedule your appointment. Okay, hey, there you are. Hey, congratulations. And let's see, I got one more. The second one, I asked you guys to name my pygmy puff, which you can see in the background. My pygmy puff is chilling with Dobby and Ron and Dobby. So let me see. The winner, oh, the name. Yes, yes, yes. I got a lot of good names. You guys gave me like 15 fabulous names. Any one of them was appropriate. But there was one that really stood out to me because it really spoke to me about the situation at hand. So I named the Pygmy Puff Saga. That is her name. Her name is Saga because I went through a saga to get her. And the person that gave me that name was Mary Thibaudet. I think it's Thibaudet, Mary Thibaudet. So I'm gonna put this in the group as well. So Mary, you are the winner. You named Saga. You gave her name. Thank you very much, Mary. All right, guys. All right, so today we came together. We're going to talk about the book Being Me, Loving You by Marshall Rosenberg. Hey, Zay, welcome to the group. So, this book is very interesting because one of the things that it does is it teaches you how to talk to and treat your loved one in a manner that is positive for you both, and you both get what you want from the relationship, from the communication. So during our first live chat, I had some questions that I didn't see in the comment section, and people asked me if I would start our chat by answering the question. So, of course, I will. The first question said, how do you speak without sounding petty or sarcastic? Now, Marshall, of course, is going to explain this the more we go through the book. But the one thing that he said to keep yourself from sounding petty or sarcastic is the energy and the words that you use in the conversation with the other person. So if you're talking to your beloved, you have to be careful of the energy that's coming from you. Is it an angry energy? Is it an irritated energy? Is it a frustrated energy? Sometimes when you're dealing with the other person, they can be frustrating to you. So what is the energy? You have to come into every conversation with good energy, is what Marshall was talking about. So he said that if you come in with good energy and you use feelings, the feelings that are in the back of the book, the words, the feelings words, then the other person will receive you in that way. He said you have to be careful to stay away from criticism and demands. A lot of times in our relationships, our lovers are finding us to be critical and demanding. Now, that's not to say that we still should not ask for what we want. We just have to watch the energy and the words that we use. That's what it was talking about. Okay. So I found that answer for the first question. Then the second question was asked. The young lady said, isn't asking them to repeat offensive? It sounds like something you ask a child. You're going to find that in this technique, there are 4 stages to the technique. And in one of the stages, you repeat what you think the other person just said to you. And the reason why you do this is not to treat them like a child, but because one of the things in our relationships that most people cite is miscommunication. Now, tell me in the comment section, have any of you ever experienced miscommunication with your lovers, with the people that you care about, with the person that you're seeing, with your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend? Sometimes do you say something and they not catch it the way you threw it? Like you meant it this way, but they took it another way. That's why Marshall says in this section to have the person repeat what you just said. So you can hear, did they hear what you said? I said apple. Did you hear apple or did you hear orange? And sometimes you will find that your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend heard something that you didn't even say, because they're processing it through their mind, through their experiences. So Marshall said that's why we have them repeat at a certain stage. Now, today's discussion, we don't go through the stages, but in our next discussion, Marshall's going to begin to teach us the stages of this. In this discussion, they have us looking at pages 1 to 6. And in 1 to 6, we have a little bit different energy that we're going to be dealing with before we get to the stages. But when we get to the stages, remember this for next time, that when we come together, the stages in one of the first 2, I believe it is, you repeat what the person has said. And you both do this, not just the one person. You both repeat what you think you hear. And the purpose is to make sure there are no miscommunications. Okay? So those are the answers to the questions that we had about nonviolent communication from our last time coming together. All right. Now we're going to talk about pages 6 to 10. In the first couple pages, I'm just going to tell you guys a quick recap for those of you who didn't read the book. In the first couple pages, first page or 2, Marshall is telling a story about his wife calling on the phone. And she says to him, "Am I attractive?" Now, I like this story because a lot of men, especially men, have told me they've been in this situation. But I think women have been in this situation too. So your lover calls, your husband calls, your wife calls and asks you a question that's kind of loaded or feels kind of loaded, and you're not quite sure how to answer the question. So the question is, am I attractive? So naturally, if you're with the person, you probably do find something about them to be attractive, but they're obviously asking you this question for a reason. So I know me, If somebody asks me that question, I'm going to be like, why is this person asking me this question? So tell me in the comment section, if your lover calls and says, am I attractive? How will you answer this question? Because Marshall answers the question by saying sometimes yes and sometimes no. He's very straight up in his answer. He's very honest in his answer. Sometimes yes, you're attractive, and sometimes no. And his wife is happy with the answer because that's what she wanted. She wanted the truth. Now he doesn't know why she asked this question. He doesn't know the circumstances or what she was trying to get to or whatever the case was, but she wanted an honest answer. And if he had just said, yeah, yeah, uh-huh, yeah, and kind of blew it off, he knew that she would be upset and that she would be hurt. So, as an Aquarius, I think I would have asked first, why are you asking me this? I think I would have said that first and foremost. If my lover called and said, am I attractive? I'd have been like, why are you asking me this question? I think that's the first thing that would have came out of my mouth. Then I would have responded after they told me why. But Marshall didn't do that. He went to honesty. Yeah, sometimes you're very attractive and sometimes you're not. So in this particular technique, what he's telling us is to be honest, you know, and it sounds very simple when you think about what he just said, but many people would not have said that. Many people would have just said yes. They would have just blew it off. They would have said, what? What you asking me that for? You know, they would have said something like that, you know. But instead, he just went right to a space of honesty. Yes, sometimes you're very attractive and sometimes not, which is true, I think, of all of us. I feel attractive sometimes and sometimes just not. When my hair is all over my head, like I crust in my eyes, maybe not right now. Come back in 10 minutes and I'll be attractive. So I think that that's what he was trying to get at. And his wife appreciated his answer. So that's the first part. Okay. Then, after Marshall finishes talking about that part, he tells us to think about something that's very important. He tells us to remember that if we're going to do nonviolent communication, first of all, it has to be something that both parties agree to. Both parties have to agree that they want to use a different kind of communication, a better form of communication, a more open, honest, as you can see, form of communication. So then after he mentions that part, he says that this form of communication is for us to communicate with each other without duty, obligation, guilt, or shame. So he's saying that a lot of times in our relationships, we get caught up in these things. We do things out of obligation. We do things out of guilt or to not feel guilty. How many times have you done something so you won't feel guilty later? Or how many times have you done something because somebody made you feel guilty? How many times has your mother, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend made you feel guilty and you did something that you normally would not have done? And that's what Marshall is talking about. He's saying that those kind of things kill relationships eventually. Eventually, the guilt, the shame, the obligation, the duty, eventually it weighs on you and it kills the relationship. Or it changes how you show up in the relationship. Maybe the relationship doesn't die, but it's not as fulfilling as it could be. So that was the second part of what Marshall was talking about. So now we come over to page 3. Now, this is really important. This part here I liked a lot. This part is about men versus women. So in this part, we're going to talk a little bit about how men and women are socialized, obviously differently, and how it affects us in communication. So let's talk about men first, then we'll talk about women. In the first part, Marshall says that men and women, and even if your beloved is not a woman or not a man, it could be Same sex couples, it could be your mom, it could be your dad, whatever the case is. But he's saying that this plays on these gender, these gender things play on our communications. So the first one we're going to talk about is men. He says here that men throughout the planet, and there are exceptions because there are, come from the John Wayne school of expressing emotions. The Clint Eastwood, the Rambo style, where you kind of just grunt. And instead of saying clearly what's going on inside of you, you label people as John Wayne would when he walked into a tavern in the movies. So what he's talking about, and for all of us who know these references, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Rambo, those were the manly men that we all grew up looking at. Those of us who are older, we grew up with these gentlemen on our television sets, in our movie screens. And a man didn't do certain things. A man wasn't hurt. If a man got hurt, he didn't say anything. That macho shit, you know? And what has happened is that men have not learned how to communicate their emotions because of it. So that strong silent type that some of us find to be very sexy is actually a man who's repressing and suppressing his emotions. So the first part of this that he's telling us is important is that our men have learned how to communicate through not communicating. So for those of you out there that are in relationship with your husband, your boyfriend, your father, how many of you, tell me in the comment section, how many of you experience the Rambo, John Wayne type response to feelings from the men that are in their life? Because for me, it's definitely true. I have seen exceptions. I've seen men who were taught to be communicative and emotionally healthy. I know a few of them, but I don't know a lot. My father wasn't that type of man. My ex-husband wasn't that type of man. You know, any of the men that I have been in relationship with have been the macho, manly man type of gentleman who, when asked how does he feel, he doesn't even really know. Because after you've suppressed and repressed your emotions so long, it becomes almost impossible to communicate them. Hello to everybody who came in that I didn't say hello to. Hello. So this kind of thing, what Marshall is getting at is that this, on the man side, this is something that makes it very difficult for our brothers because they've been taught to behave this way. They've been socialized to behave this way. They've been taught that not behaving this way makes them less than a man. So if they don't act this way, then something's wrong with them. So they might not even want to behave this way, but they get the message: if you don't act this way, you're not a man. And sometimes that message comes to them from other men, and sometimes it comes from women. So our men, our brothers, are being socialized like this. Our little boys are being socialized like this. And it's a disservice to them, and it's a disservice to us because they don't know how to communicate. And then here we come as women, when we want them to communicate, when we want them to be soft, when we want to hear how they feel, they can't do it because they've suppressed it and repressed it so long that it doesn't feel safe to even go there. So my point to you as women, and my point to you as, men who know better, is we have to talk to and socialize men to know it's okay to feel something. It's okay to communicate that feeling. Hey, Ghost Rider. It's okay to communicate your feelings. No, you don't have to repress and suppress yourself to be a man in my eyes. In my eyes, you're a man if you're honest, and being able to communicate your emotions, for me, is part of being a man, part of being honest. So that's the first part. And I see a lot of you in the comment section have dealt with this. I see a lot of you have experienced this. And so it's something that, of course, like I said, Marshall is talking about here. And we have to be willing to treat our brothers in this way. And our brothers have to be willing to be, I guess it's not going to be easy for them because remember, they're socialized this way, but they're going to have to see it's not working. It's not working for them, and it's not working for their families. It's not working for the society. It's not working. This John way, Rambo, grunting kind of way is not working. It's not working for anybody. How many relationships have broke up because of this particular thing? I hear women that come to me all the time and tell me, I don't know how he feels. He won't tell me how he feels. He won't talk to me. He won't express himself. And a lot of times those women leave or they just disconnect from the relationship. So they're seeing someone else or they're there, but they're not mentally and emotionally there. And the relationship could be so much better if this changed. Okay. So that's the part about men. All right. So as women and as healthy men, we need to encourage better with our little boys and our grown men. Now, Marshall's going to talk to us about women. Because remember, we all contribute to the dysfunction. It's not, sometimes I hear men and women argue with each other, men versus women. And I'm like, we all contribute to the dysfunction. And we all have a hand in healing it as well. So for women, what we can do for our little sisters, our little girls, and our women, it says here, on the other hand, women are not taught to be very clear about their needs. They've been taught for several centuries to deny their own needs and take care of others. So they often depend on the man for leadership and expect him to kind of guess what she needs and wants and to fulfill that, to take care of that. So here's the woman's side. So here we are, not taught to be clear about our needs. So you're being vague. So a man is like, baby, tell me what you want. And we're like, well, I want, you know, what do you want? You know? So as women, the first part of this is being clear about what you want, which means figuring out what you want, knowing what you want, and then being clear about it, not beating around the bush. Baby, I want this. I want X, not Y. I want X. It's about being clear about what you want. Oh, I'll just take whatever you bring. Mm-mm. Be clear about what it is that you want from your situation or whatever he happens to be asking you. Then the next part of this said that we've been taught to take care of others, which is very true. A woman is valued if she takes good care of her family. Taking care of your kids look clean, they go to good school, you got dinner on the table, your house is clean, your dishes are washed. You are valued by how well you take care of others. It is very much a part of being a woman. Now, men get some of this too, because if you're expected to be a good father, you're expected to be a good husband, but the microscope is different. Your very womanhood is attacked if you're not taking care of others, if you don't effectively take care of others. Some of us who don't have children are even criticized for not having someone to take care of. So it's a really, really big thing. So that's another piece to this. So they said here that we have to learn to stop denying our own needs for others. So stop sacrificing yourself to take care of others. Not to say you're not going to take care of others. That's never going to change. You're going to take care of your kids. You're going to do that. But what he's saying is not to deny your needs, not to sacrifice yourself in order to do it. You see? So as women, Think about these two. First of all, as a woman, do you feel as though you were taught to take care of others? Were you given the message that that was important? Because I know I was. I'm still giving that message. I'm still giving the message that I need to take care of someone else, and never really given the message to take care of myself. Nobody really, other than like different spiritual gurus, gives the message of the importance of self-care. So Marshall is saying, as women, we have to come away from that. All right. Now the next one she says here, let me see. Depending on the man to guess. This is the last part. So now he says, you're a woman, you've been taught to deny your needs, and now you want your man to guess what you want and what you need. So again, we can see how this is confusing and how it doesn't work for the relationship or your man, because now you want him to play Inspector Gadget and figure out what it is that you want. So Marshall is saying in this part, to as a woman, to remember to be specific and ask for what it is that you want. Because when we go into the next phase, the next time we talk and we go into the stages of nonviolent communication, you're going to see how this is going to be very important for us to be able to communicate. Men are going to have to be open to communicating their feelings, and women are going to have to say straight up what it is that they need and want. Because one of the things that Marshall says in the book is that a lot of men are saying, what do you want? And we're like, figure it out. Guess. Guess what I want. And that'll make me happy if you guess what I want, And that's not fair to the brothers. So we can both be more fair to each other. We can heal these situations and communicate better. And this is the first start. So we're pretty much done at this point with pages 1 through 6. That was the whole thing. Marshall went through a role play with a man and a woman, and that's what came out of the role play. So now for us to move forward, we need to now read for our next session 6 to 10, pages 6 to 10. Now we're going to start getting into how to do this. I was talking to someone the other day, and she told me that she tried these role plays, one of these role plays with her significant other. And she said that immediately they ran into trouble. Immediately. So now we're going to learn the technique. We have to learn the steps before we can actually do it. So we're going to now learn the techniques. The first thing they set us up with is how to move forward. Okay. And the things that we're going to be thinking about. So coming away from this today, what I want you to do is read pages 6 to 10 and think about how you fit into, as a man or as a woman, what we talked about today. Okay. All right, guys. So that's the end of that. We're going to read some more, and then not next week, but the week after, we're going to come back together and we're going to talk about pages 6 to 10. So now I have a few moments. I have a few moments so I can answer some questions over in the chat. So if anybody has any questions about what we talked about today, that would be great. The thing about it is that the chat is really it's moved too far over, so it's like impossible to be able to read it. And that's why, like, right now I'm looking at it and I'm trying to read it and I'm like, why is it that far over? One of the things I need to do is sit and learn how to work this. That would be extremely helpful if I sat and learned how to work this. But if anyone has any questions for me about this particular topic, you can put them underneath this, because after we're finished talking, they always upload this to my channel. So if you have questions, they're all the chat questions that are over here now. I'm going to get them out and I'm going to have them ready for our next discussion. Likewise, if you have any more, you can put them underneath this video and I will be happy to answer them then. All questions that I have an answer to will be answered. I would like to thank all of you guys for coming and hanging out. This has been a really cool 30 minutes. And I learned a lot from reading this. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to our contest winners. And I will see you guys in the comment section. Okay. I hope you guys have a fabulous Sunday. Bye, guys. Much love to you. Thank you for being here.